Has there ever been a time where you've met someone important in your life, but your first impressions of them weren't all that memorable? There's someone you never really thought about, however now you can't imagine them not being a part of your life. This specific type of feeling is what I believe ReZero has over most other shows. Its ability to introduce what's originally perceived as a throwaway character and somehow not only make them important but also make them someone we care for is nothing short of impressive. ReZero Season 4 has just started airing after what felt like an endless amount of time, and my statement could not be more true than right now. Because there was a character who should not have been important, who should have faded into obscurity as the series progressed. But not only did they come back, they have successfully ingrained themselves into this arc as someone unforgettable, as a standout in such a high quality season that it should have been impossible. After that masterclass of back-to-back episodes, we've now entered the second stage where hopefully it'll be able to live up to these expectations. This video is the first of many discussing each episode of the 4th season's second core as it airs, with this one specifically going over episode 12. And the episode itself felt like the calm before the storm. We're seeing a nice contrast from episode 8 to this. One of the biggest factors was his inability to trust anyone and assumed that everyone had plans that would only cause suffering for himself, when in actuality it was Subaru's ignorance causing pain for others. But things have changed. His lack of trust has completely evaporated and now he's trying to take on all of these people's expectations head on. One of the most notable examples is Ram and Subaru's conversation that mirrors an earlier one. However, I feel this scene will be more relevant to talk about later on. Some other subtle examples would be Amelia and Beatrice, which you'd be able to intuit from subtext. And while I believe all of this is interesting, there's one person who I feel stands out compared to the rest in this regard, and is the primary focus of the episode. And it's none other than the girl not a single person watching this show had any expectations of. Maylee Portrude. Both of Maylee's introductions into the series painted her as someone who was made to be forgotten, a throwaway villain who served her purpose and won't have any relevance in the future. No one comes out of season 2 thinking, you know who really stood out to me? Maylee. Your first impression is that she isn't important, yet despite that, she comes back. And not only that, is given more time in the spotlight compared to most. In retrospect, Maylee being the culprit behind pushing Subaru off the stairs is obvious. The assassin that's attempted to kill Subaru and his friends also being the one to kill him for a third time just makes sense. It almost makes too much sense that you don't want to believe it. When it comes to this series, there's always this element of mystery when it's to do with people's intentions. There's always some ulterior motive, or always something we're missing. So it's easy to try and find a deeper meaning in who killed Subaru and why, because of how much this series has conditioned you into overthinking everything. Everything always pointed to Maylee being the culprit, which makes you skeptical. It can't be that easy. However, the beauty of this whole debacle is that it is that easy. But the difference is now we know why. It's that newfound understanding we have of Maylee that makes it hit hard now. Knowing who did it is one thing, but diving deep into why is where this scene shines. Maylee is a product of the world around her, a person who was abandoned and was never able to live a normal life. She never learned values, morals, or virtues. She was nothing more than a wild beast. Now cut to her with Elsa. This is someone who brought her into a whole new world where she actually starts learning the complexities of life and herself. But even still, the environment around her and the people she was learning from were horrible. She became a merciless killer just like everyone around her. There was always that disconnect from Maylee and understanding emotions. And it's not like she was a psychopath or anything, she was just never taught how. Maylee was ultimately a wild beast mimicking Elsa, a person who she was learning from and the person she sought out to be. But she tragically died and it was Subaru's fault. The person she was trying to be no longer lived in this world. She was lost, not knowing what she should do. And on top of that, she doesn't understand how much she cares for Elsa. This horrible woman who killed the beasts that raised her. This person who lacked any sort of empathy towards anyone she murdered. Someone who can't be redeemed, someone who's too far gone. But in some weird, twisted way, it's clear that Elsa had a deep care for Maylee. While unconventional, they did share this sister dynamic between each other. She was the only family that Maylee had, and before she could understand this, Elsa was taken away from her. It's not like Maylee plotted to kill Subaru from the start. In all honesty, she could have done it at any point during their time in the sand dunes. In her mind, she had no reason to kill Subaru. He's someone who's kind to her, made dolls for her, and has given her a place to live in. She's even gone as far as to confide in Subaru about her past. But as I said before, she lacks that fundamental understanding of herself. She's lost and doesn't know what she wants to do moving forward. So she tries turning to the one person who decided how she lived in the past, Elsa. Making the decision to look for her Book of the Dead, she stumbles carelessly on Subaru, who just so happened to also be in the library. Her actions had been discovered. She didn't want anyone knowing about this. She didn't want anyone knowing she was misbehaving. She tried her best playing the part everyone expected from her so that she wouldn't be punished. All that effort had gone down the drain. This is how she perceives the situation, but it's clear as day Subaru doesn't see it that way at all. However, it doesn't matter. We know what she's been through, and we know what horrible things have happened to her when she doesn't listen. That sort of trauma doesn't just go away, and she doesn't know how to process that fear, which leads her to resort to the only thing she's known for her whole life. She tries to kill Subaru in the library. She now has a reason to take his life. But then we see this entity that looks like Subaru talking to Meili, basically saying that all these troubles, how lost she feels, he'll fix it all for her. If this is true, then she won't need to process how she feels about Elsa's death. She won't need to understand how lost she is. She's unknowingly experiencing hope. Hope that everything will work out, that what's broken about her will be resolved. Only for that hope to shatter the moment it's discovered Subaru had lost his memories. Meili's expectations had once again been betrayed, first Elsa's death and now this. To make such a claim only to then look at that same person with such unfamiliarity as if they're a stranger is insulting. She's unknowingly experiencing the same emotion she felt when Elsa had passed away. Grief. Grief that a person she cares about had left her all alone. Grief that the hope she had been taken away twice by the exact same person. With this, everything makes sense. There's no intricate plan, no ulterior motives. It was completely and utterly driven by impulse. A compulsive revenge driven solely by grief towards the person who made her feel that way. The person who was the reason Elsa had been killed. The person who had betrayed her at a time she needed clarity the most. Going back to the present, here he is, that same guy who made Meili feel so lost, now promising to help her. Meili had tried to kill Subaru and failed, yet for some irrational reason he's still willing to accept her. This broken child who's only known pain and killing her whole life. Someone who should have been perceived as too far gone, as someone beyond saving. And despite this, Subaru still reaches his hand out to her, because he knows her better than anyone else. He's experienced her entire life. He knows how lost she is, and how much help she really needs. Meili was never taught right from wrong or how to process emotions. But if given the right guidance, there's a chance that maybe, just maybe, she can make a change. She can work towards understanding the value of life, that there's so much good that this cruel, unforgiving world has to offer. And it's not as if she has to forget about her past. Elsa was more than just a part of her life. She was her whole reason for existing. Without her, it's as if Meili had also died. Meili has lived a life mimicking others, unable to understand herself and the world around her. But now she doesn't have to. She now has a group that'll care for her in a way that'll allow her to try and find who she wants to be. Not as some wild beast mimicking others so that she doesn't get hurt, but as Meili Portrude, the newest member of the Amelia camp. This level of attention to someone who should have never been considered for it is incredible. This character who no one had any expectations of being given such amazing development is something you rarely see. And while it could potentially be a double-edged sword, I feel that at the very least right now it's one of the series' greatest strengths. Meili was one in a multitude of characters who will be given time to shine in this arc. But with what was shown in the newest episode, it's clear that this is only the beginning. We have so much more that we need to cover from everyone else. But that's a video for the next coming weeks. One thing I might add, which is definitely a minor detail for now, is Subaru's expectations of himself. I made a video a while ago covering Subaru's identity crisis and the burdens of having to live up to this ideal version of himself that everyone loves. But now it seems like he's slowly starting to understand that this ideal version of himself never actually existed. It's something covered in his conversation with Ram, which is still a major talking point of this arc. All that's left is to wait and see how it unfolds. The gang is going back to the library to find Reed's Book of the Dead. What will come from this is still unknown, but right now all we can do is wait and see what Subaru's thinking about. Was this what Subaru was trying to do when he lost his memories? And if so, what could have possibly happened for it to go so wrong? Whatever it is, I'm sure it'll be insane. But with that, if you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like, and subscribing would mean a lot. I love this episode, and honestly I can't wait to see the rest. But with that being said, that's all I have to say for now. See ya.